Morning guys, so this is how I start my day pretty much every day. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll know probably how I start my day and what I have to consume at the start of the morning. So I've actually consumed this. It's not an accurate representation as to how I start my day, so that was a good start. But it was a smoothie, which is basically 250 grams of mixed berries blended with 35 grams of strawberry whey isolate, and it's as simple as that. It's just a smoothie, and I put it in a Starbucks cup because I'm basic. Yeah, basic. And then I sort of let that settle in the stomach. It makes me very freezing cold. I'm extremely cold right now, so I counteract that with a black coffee. Yeah, good that. And the black coffee, yeah, is sort of something that me and my friend Jack started saying for some reason, and it's sort of taken off. So if you do have Instagram, or you're part of the black coffee, yeah, sort of movement, then make sure you hashtag in the comments below black coffee, yeah, and then I'll just know that you're here and that you're here to stay. But yeah, caffeine in this will keep me going for the morning. It also counteracts the freezing cold smoothly, and gets me set up for the day nicely. And then what I do is, whilst I'm consuming these two liquid items, I'm on the mobile device, and I'll actually just do it now. I usually start my story at this sort of time of the day, so I'll do it now. And I also do a post. My first thing in the morning is I do a Facebook, not Facebook, an Instagram post. So let's do the story. Morning guys, so I'm actually just introducing a YouTube vlog here, so here it is. It's just recording. There we are. YouTube, Instagram. I've got a black coffee, yeah. So yeah, get that done, get out to the socials, and get on with the day. Video, and today, well, for the first part of this video at least, I'm going to be walking you through some of my training and nutrition setup, because this cropped up in a few questions that were in the comment section. So obviously I want to get back to you and give you content that you want to see. So we're going to run through sort of what my split looks like in terms of training, and then obviously what my nutritional approach is also. So first up, training. So as you can see, or can potentially see, the whiteboard, we've got training here. So what does my split look like? So I start off on a Monday with a push session. Tuesday is a lower body session. Wednesday is a pull session. Thursday is back round to a push session, so the second of the week. I'll explain this all and the rationale behind it in a sec. Friday we move on to a lower body session, the second of the week. Saturday we have a full upper body session, and Sunday we are off, we are resting. Right, so the rationale behind the training split and this setup is because frequency is key when we're looking to build or improve weaker body parts, and my push body parts, so my chest, my delts, my triceps, my arms in general as well, are weaker. They're not something that's a stark weak point, and this is something that I discussed in an Instagram post quite recently. I discussed the fact that I hadn't, over my off season, really looked at a body part and thought, wow, I need to bring this one up. I've almost looked at my physique and thought, right, I need to just get bigger in general. And that's what most people need to do, is they just need to get bigger in general. If you're a young guy and you're watching this, like 18, 19, 20 years old, in your early phases of training, you just need to get bigger in general. So focusing too much of your time on specific body parts, it's not going to do any favours, because when you do that, you're essentially robbing Pete to pay Paul. So you're taking away something from something else to give you that extra recovery capabilities to train another body part with more frequency, with more intensity and more volume. When you take volume away from something else to put it somewhere else, you're going to potentially slow down progress on that body part. But nevertheless, it still pays importance to look at your frequency and how you can change things around when you have slightly underdeveloped or slightly lagging body parts. So that's what we've done here. So 2 push workouts as opposed to 2 pull workouts. Another rationale behind having 2 push workouts is that it allows me to train push prior to a lower body day. If you train pull prior to a lower body day, what you'll find is that your below back and your upper back will inherently or almost definitely affect your ability to squat, to stiff leg deadlift, and to do some other movements. So when it comes to your split setup, you've not only got to think about exercise selection, but you've obviously got to think about, right, I'm doing this pull workout, will it affect my lower body workout coming the next day? And most of the time it will. So just got to bear that in mind, guys. Like I've said this time and time again, you can look at the perfect split on paper, but until you do it, you don't have a clue as to how well it's going to go. So setting up a split that you think, wow, this has the perfect amount of training volume, the perfect amount of intensity and the perfect frequency. Those are all little pieces of the puzzle, and until you perform the split, you will not know how the puzzle fits together. And what we're trying to do is make a very pretty puzzle with no little pieces missing. Hope that analogy sort of was good. So anything else that I've got really to explain here? Not really at all, apart from the fact that I am deadlifting and squatting on this lower body day. I am rack pulling on this day, so a rack pull, and I'm just squatting on this day and stiff legging on that day as well. Okay, so those are my main lower body compounds. So reason for sort of rack pulling here is because I used to deadlift here. I used to deadlift the day after squatting. Now this was fine when I was in a surplus. Funny enough, I could just do that and have no issues with my low back recovery or my hamstring recoverability, because what I could do is I could take away some hamstring volume out of that first lower body session, and therefore my hamstrings would be a little bit fresher for the deadlift session, and then I'd build up, or I'd replace the volume that I'd taken away in the Tuesday session and put it into the Friday session, if that makes sense. But yeah, that's the split up. I've been running this for quite some time, guys, so this will most likely not change throughout my entire prep unless something goes completely and utterly wrong. I doubt that I'll see this training split sort of change. So unless it does, there's probably no need to update this. This is my split, and if you've got any questions on my split, obviously please let me know. I'd love to hear them. And I will now roll into my nutrition. Okay guys, we are back. So we've got nutrition up next. Oh, can we see the whiteboard? I just slammed my glute onto the radiator there. Yeah, just slammed the glute onto the radiator. Right, nutrition time. So obviously if you've followed me for a while, you will know that nutrition starts with an N. No, in reality guys, do you find that when you write stuff on whiteboards in big letters, you tend to spell stuff wrong? Because before this video was on, or in the outtake, I spelt nutrition completely incorrectly. So I don't know whether anyone can relate to that. But yeah, if you've been following me for a while, you'll know that from a nutrition perspective, I utilize flexible dieting. So I count my macros and I use my fitness pal to do so. Now, if you take me back to when I was first introduced to flexible dieting, I was like, wow, you know, what a crazy realm of exotic foods I can add to my menu. And I took it a little bit far, maybe. So I was having, you know, whole tubs of ice cream on a refeed and things like that, just eating crap basically to fit it into my numbers, because at that time I wasn't educated enough to know that that probably wasn't the most optimal thing to do. And in hindsight, I would have not done that if I'd have known. So flexible dieting, for anyone that doesn't realise, is not how much shit you can fit into your numbers. It is basically a way of being accurate and knowing how many carbs, fat, protein we are consuming on a daily basis. So that's why I do flexible dieting, is because I feel that it has an edge on a potential meal plan that can have some sort of variability in the, okay, let's have 2 eggs, what size the eggs? Or let's have a handful of this, you know, some meal plans are like that. So I love flexible dieting. I love the ability to think in my head, if I want something that's, you know, a little bit of a treat, I can fit it into my numbers and not stray away from the idea of losing body fat, because calories in versus calories out, guys. And I don't think that needs to be repeated. So we are in a deficit at the moment. So what are the numbers looking like? So at the start of this week, actually, this week we had a midweek change, which doesn't very often happen. Now my weight stalled sort of midway through the week. I hadn't made nutritional adjustments for a while. So before the start of the week, we were on 370 carb, 50 fat, and 200 protein. We're also having a refeed of 550 carb, 40 fat, and 180 protein. And I will discuss refeeds and why in the future, but at the moment, all you need to know is those are the numbers, and I was auto-regulating my refeeds also. So I'd only have one if I felt my rate of loss gave me one, which I think is quite important. And something I discussed on the Corin Ingman podcast. If you haven't watched that, please do. We explained that nicely in that video. So what are my numbers like at the moment? So we actually made a pretty significant drop. So we dug real deep for this. We're now down to 350 carb. Let's write that a bit bigger. 350 carb. There we go. 50 grams of fat and 200 grams of protein, with a auto-regulated refeed, potentially of 1 times per week, 550 carb, 40 fat, and 180 protein. Now, preference here, guys. I like to diet with high carbohydrates. I always have. Or at least when I've done my own preps, I love to diet on high carbs. There's a few realms of information that's circling in natural bodybuilding, especially some of the top guys in DFAC, which is a Drug-Free Athletes Coalition. It's a federation that you can get a pro card through the BMBF for, if you've not heard of it already. And especially quite a few of those athletes, top athletes, they're very much preaching high carbohydrate diets. And that makes sense, because as weight training individuals, our sessions are primarily going to be fueled by carbohydrates. So keeping them as high as possible throughout a contest prep phase will, in my opinion, promote better muscle retention. And the rationale behind that is because if we can train better, we can retain our numbers better, and therefore we can retain more lean tissue and step on stage looking like a bodybuilder rather than looking like Mo Farah or another long distance athlete, which is not the goal. So those are the numbers at the moment. I realise that we've probably gone on for about 10 minutes on nutrition and training here, but I hope that this has been informative and nice. I will most likely have a push workout coming up, which I'm going to film today. I've got that to go in complete after I've eaten my pre-workout meal. But yeah, I hope you enjoy this, guys, and if you want some sort of similar content to this, maybe going through refeeds, going through why refeed or why I'm not refeeding, going through any sort of other nutritional or training strategies that I'm implementing, please do ask. I can cover deloads, refeeds, all the minutiae of contest prep. Please ask and let me know. And again, I appreciate the love on these videos, guys, so if you haven't already, pop it a like and subscribe if you haven't. And I'll see you in the push workout. Cheers. Hey guys, so welcome to the voiceover on this push workout. So this workout was yesterday. I'm actually recording the voiceover today, but it was good. I can remember it vividly, and obviously I'm watching it on my screen as well, but it was very productive. So something that I've been doing recently is, well, not recently, but in this session itself, has been starting my push session off with an OHP instead of starting it off with my flat dumbbell bench press. My flat dumbbell bench press has been sort of stalling as of late, so so is my OHP, and I was getting more frustrated with my OHP potentially regressing. So I put it first and I just absolutely destroyed 4 sets of 6 with 70 kilo. I had to rest pause the final set, but I still got 6, so it was really, really good. That at this stage I'm just super happy to be maintaining that, because I'm 13 pounds lighter than when I sort of last hit those numbers. So we did move on to flat dumbbell bench press after, within the 8 to 10 rep range, and I got, I think, 42.5 kilo dumbbells for 8 to 10. I find that these specific push moves, the flat dumbbell bench press and the barbell OHP, get really difficult to maintain whilst you are dieting down. Now, this is a factor of losing body weight. Now, weight will always move weight, guys. You'll never see someone that's like crazy strong and isn't packing on some body weight to them. You know, you'll always hit a cap. Like, you won't be able to continually progress your movements if you stay the same body weight all year round. Like, look at, you know, some of the elite powerlifters. You know, the reason why there's big differences between the bottom end weight categories and the top end weight categories is simply because the guys are larger guys. So don't be afraid of losing strength at some point during a contest prep diet. It's normal, but strength retention is key. If you can retain your numbers and you have the mindset to go into the session thinking, right, I'm gonna do everything in my power to stop these numbers going down. I want to maintain them. I want form to be good, but I want to maintain these lifts. I guarantee you'll have much more successful sessions, and plenty of people just walk into their sessions when they're prepping just blindly, and they don't log their lifts. They don't check that they're not regressing, and they'll step on stage with less muscle than they could have done. And that to me is annoying. Like, what, we don't want that. We want the best physique on stage. So remember that lifts may well go down, but the main thing is you try as hard as you can to keep them there and to keep them maintained. Obviously, whilst making sure that form is a priority. So you'll see me doing face pulls here. I do like face pulls on a push day, primarily because face pulls are going to be working the rear delts. Now, I don't really fancy frying my rear delts on a pull day when I might have a push day the next day after. So I prefer to situate face pulls on a push day as opposed to a pull day. So, you know, this is not a pushing movement, clearly, because I'm pulling. And so, I mean, you can situate your rear delt moves on a push day. I don't have any issues with that. I do it a lot with my clients in their programming. Some tips for face pulls is, you know, don't forget the fact that you have to externally rotate at the top, and that's a point of the move where you bring your elbows up. So what we're talking about is basically bringing the elbows high. A lot of people forget that and they just pull it straight into their face or straight into their chin, whereas we're looking to bring the cables high and back. So rotation, external rotation of the shoulder. So that's what we're really looking for in a face pull. And then we did leaning lateral dumbbell raises. So these I really like because what it allows you to do is create an angle. And a lot of people with their lateral raises, they go too heavy when they're doing just sort of normal standing up straight, and they jerk the weight around so much that they're probably getting minimal medial delt activation. And that's what we want. We want medial delt activation. So leaning actually gets you in a better position. I think there has been some studies on EMG activity on medial delt on leaning lateral raise as opposed to standing. I think there's been some substantial evidence to suggest that leaning lateral raise may be better for medial delt activation. But I will try and trawl up that paper and put it in the links below, because I do now and again anecdotally like research papers. But if it works and you feel it, and that's, you know, that's going to probably show up on EMG activity. So, you know, if it works and you feel it well, so go with that. These are one of my favorite tricep moves. So these are narrow grip dumbbell presses. I like these because the barbell, I seem to see a lot more regression in barbell movements when I'm dieting. Now, I'm not sure how to explain why that happens, but I just do see it. Now, I like the narrow grip dumbbell presses because I can maintain them more. I feel like I control the movement more. I almost pause a little bit at the bottom and then have a powerful concentric. So as you can see that I actually failed on that rep. So I do tend to take my accessories, so my secondary moves, so my tricep push downs, if I ever do them, which is the last move on this day. I don't really like tricep push downs because I don't believe they provide a huge amount of benefit. They're great for sort of metabolic stress training, which is a component of hypertrophy. So we do need to have some in there, but I do take them to the higher rep range. So I think these were sets of 10, but I could have gone even higher than that. But yeah, guys, coming to the end of the footage now, so thanks very much again for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already, and look out for future vids coming soon. #BlackCoffee, yeah. Love you lots. See you guys.